discussing a very heavy topic.
A very beautiful topic. My favorite.
I thought it was sex.
Sex is my second favorite. The only thing I enjoy talking about more than sex is breaking up.
Well, earlier we discovered that Ashura has never been broken up with. She does the breaking up. I, on the other hand, will be taking advice.
I sense when someone is thinking about breaking up with me, and I absolutely will not. You absolutely will not.
She's petty.
I could be madly in love with you. If I feel like you're about to break up with me, hey, maybe we should talk. Things just haven't been the same.
I had to have that talk a few weeks ago. Episode 1, I shared that I was in a beautiful, loving relationship. And now we're at episode 4, and that relationship is over. He broke up with me. And I definitely got the "it's not you, it's me" speech.
I think it's a very manly thing to do in relationships, and a very grown-up thing to do, to realize that you may just not be adding the type of value that that person needs, or you may not be at the point in your life where you're able to give that person everything that they need to. And that's real love to me, is, you know, loving somebody enough to say, I see great things for you, I see a wonderful future for you, and I can't give that to you right now, and so I'm letting you go. So,
and I think that that's what made the breakup so much easier for me, because I wasn't blindsided. It wasn't working, but as we're going to talk about later on in this episode, I do this thing that most women do where it's like, it's not working, it's not going anywhere, but you don't want to be the one to let it go. And so, you know,
I will let it go. Whoops. Ooh.
You pull it out your hand. Okay, cool.
So, when do you know when it's time to call it off? When it's time to break up? What's
So I think that we know when a relationship is over. It's that point in time where there's a shift in energy.
I like that. Yeah.
So nothing feels the same even when you're both trying. You know, because sometimes it is time to break up. It's not a one-sided thing. Sometimes you both are putting in the effort, but the connection is no longer there. And other times, I would say, like in past situations, for me, I would say I've known that it was time to let this thing go because you're not putting in that same effort. You're not giving me the same attention and validation that put me in a space of security in this relationship. So, you know, it's like we don't communicate as much as we used to. You don't compliment me. You don't notice the things that you used to notice. And I think that that's like a really, really big thing for me. Like when it's just like, I curled my hair today and you didn't notice that. But
you used to.
You used to. It used to be like, oh, you wore new lashes today. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's those little details that, yes, I put the extra effort in for myself, but for you to notice, it just is an extra boost. So when they stop paying attention to those little details, when they stop putting in effort to impress you, like, you know, because sometimes it's another woman kind of situation. Sometimes the person just really just gets withdrawn from the whole concept of being in a relationship. So it's just like, you know, like, I want to sweat you and I can't because you don't care to impress me anymore.
It's like your mind isn't even here.
Yeah, like your mind is not even here. So I would say it overall is just a shift in energy when, like, you guys disconnect, and no matter how hard you try to put those pieces next to each other, they don't go anymore. One of my favorite songs is by this girl, Arlisa.
Oh, yes.
Yes, and it's called Hearts Ain't Gonna Lie. And one of the lyrics in that song is like, fuck, I can't remember the
It's
lyrics.
every lyric in that
But
song.
every lyric in that song. But there's a part in the song where in the hook where she basically explains like we're the same piece.
Oh yes.
So
we're half of the same.
We're half of the same.
And don't take that the wrong way.
And don't take that the wrong way. Yes. Like that's my song. So it's like we're half of the same and don't take that the wrong way, because it's just like we match but we don't go together. So when you think of like a broken heart, there's always that other piece that just fits perfectly.
And
but we're
the
literally
same
the
piece.
same exact piece. We're the same cut. So no matter how much we try to make this thing fit, it's not gonna connect because we're the same. And it's not a bad thing. It just means that this is not gonna work and that this is ending. And sometimes you don't start off the same. Sometimes you're two pieces that are two completely different and you fit, but sometimes you're clashing and somebody's edges start to fray just a little bit and then you don't fit anymore. So
That was poetry.
Thank you.
That
I'm
was
an
poetry.
artist. You know when it's time to break up. It's hard to accept, but it's evident.
It's inevitable.
Yeah.
That is why I love breakups, because it's so inevitable. Because
That's so sad.
I don't think so, because this is the thing. Even someone, I won't say that my breakup was recent because it's been some time, but what I've learned is that breaking up is that courage to move on and to accept that you are no longer that same person as you started out, and to embrace that new person and to give that new person what they deserve, which is a love that fits. And when I was going through my breakup, a song that I was listening to a lot was X by Kiana. And it was really like, don't do that to me. Don't act like you don't know me from, nowhere, and I don't want to be your ex. I want to be, I want us to still have that same love and connection that we had.
Do you think it's that easy?
It's
though?
absolutely not.
Because I'm like, I love that song, but I was just like, girl, no.
It doesn't work like that. And she even admitted in an interview that it really wasn't like she was trying to be friends with the person again. It was more
trying to smash.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that happens sometimes. It doesn't always end good, but get yours, sis. But I bring that up to say, when I would listen to that song, I would get so sad because I knew it didn't end like that. And I knew that it wasn't going to be like that. I knew it was going to be sad and difficult and hard to tell someone, in my experience, that you've been with for years, that you've, really grown with. They've changed your life. All these great, wonderful things.
That we don't fit anymore.
This doesn't work anymore. And even though you know it and I know it, I'm the one to say it. And it's hard, but once I did that, I was able to do so many things. I'm the person that I am now. I couldn't even go back to that relationship because I'm not that person anymore. So, and even, he embraces that. And people, even though it hurts to break up, when you are with someone who truly loves you, they are able to embrace, after all the pain and the hurt and the, the sad parts, I'm happy for you.
So the thing about relationships like yours, like where you've been with the person for a very, very long time, because like I've had a relationship like that I had to let go. As you get older though, like, don't you feel sad at the idea that like, okay, like, do you think that you're gonna constantly be outgrowing people? Because I think that like the new age of women that are being raised, that are finding themselves in this season, in this era, we're constantly evolving.
Yeah.
Does that make you like fearful that you're gonna always outgrow the man that you choose for the time being? Like,
You know why? No, I'm not scared, because the thing is, I'm not afraid to admit that for a long time I've been choosing a lot of the wrong men. And when you're constantly settling for the wrong man, that man will never grow with you because he wasn't right. You dated red flags, you settled for potential, you know, allowed the what are we that you didn't want to continue into an even greater what is this. Ooh. So you've done all the wrong things, and that has been me for so long that I had to come to a point that when I did have my last breakup, it was like, I know that there's a man out there for me. I know that there's a man out there who understands me, who understands my life, and who understands my goals, my creative process. He is just as ambitious as me. He wants just as much, and all of those wonderful things, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and therefore, there's no way for me to outgrow that man because that man is also always evolving. So
it makes letting go easier.
Exactly. And I think because we hold on to the idea of what the now is, that we don't speak life into the future.
And I think sometimes we're afraid to have a future because we're so attached to the now. Like, I know what this looks like, I know what this feels like, even at its, and it's, wow, it's like deja vu, but even at its worst, I'm comfortable with this, I'm familiar with this, I know how to maneuver around this. So that's what you hold on to, and that's why breaking up is such a hard thing to do. And like for me, one of the things that I keep saying is like, damn, like, we're always waiting for the breakup.
Yeah.
But like, why would you?
Right.
Or for the relationship to start, but it's like, why would you want to be in a relationship with somebody who like clearly doesn't want to be in a relationship with you? Or why would you want to still be in a relationship that doesn't exist?
All in all, I feel like breaking up, whether it's someone you've been with for a long time or someone you've been with for a short amount of time, it's time. You can't get that time back. But instead of looking at it as time wasted, think of it as time invested.
Again, like if you're thinking about the time that you have invested, some people just don't like starting over.
I just think starting over is great.
I mean, I see, don't get me wrong, I see the value in it now, but I'm saying in that space, there's the biggest fear that comes along with letting go is the idea of starting over. And like one of my friends recently just got out of a relationship with a girl that he was with for damn near like, I want to say like 4 years. And he's like, you know, being in my glow up phase and coming out and being and doing everything that I absolutely want. He's like, is there ever a part of you that misses, you know, like your ex, whereas you just wish that they were with you? And I was like, honestly, like, I guess it's a true love thing, because sometimes you really do feel like the person who deserves you the most is the person who helped make you who you are. I'm not justifying holding on. I'm just giving, you know, things that cross your mind.
And I'm gonna be so real right now too, because I don't want you to think that, you know, well, you know that you know, I am this super strong, like, yeah, I'm leaving you and I'm great. Like, there have been many tears on this couch off camera. So I will say yes. Like, have I had moments before where after breaking up with someone, I've thought about them or missed them, or I have missed the idea of, so let's have a really real moment right now. So, you know, the person that I broke up with was my child's father, and I have had moments where, you know, I've thought about how ideal our little family would have been, and all of the things that I planned for because even in my own personal YouTube video, I mentioned one time that I was literally supposed to be planning a wedding at the end of 2018. And so is it just like you just break up and then it's like everything is great? Absolutely not. You know, you see things and it's kind of like, oh, well, this was how this was supposed to be. You know, when you've been with someone that long, you plan the other kids you're gonna have. You plan the places you're gonna travel. You plan the types of properties you're gonna own and things like that. And, you know, but it becomes, for me, what my motivation was, do I want my son to grow up and stay in a love that doesn't make sense because of the idea of what it could be? So that's what makes me realize I don't miss the actual relationship. I miss the idea. I miss the idea. And with ideas, you can create a new idea, a better idea. So why would I stay, you know, I could stay depressed in that stage forever, but why?
Yeah.
So, to breakups.
To breakups. Okay, so then how do you do it? How do you take that step and break up?
Well, Saika, there are many ways. There is text message, phone call.
You do not text message breakup or a family dinner. Okay, don't take her advice.
I'd like to make an announcement.
Do not take her advice.
Me and Gerard have had a wonderful time amongst you all, but we think now is the time. Yeah, family dinner breakups. Ooh.
You've done a family dinner breakup before?
Not in reality.
She's just be imagining
in my dreams. Okay, so yeah.
Bro, what are good and effective ways to go about breaking up?
I think a good way to do it is always by asking a question. Ask something blunt, like, do you feel like this is working? Is your mind here lately? Boom, I remember now. What I asked was, I want you to put aside how you feel about me, and I want you to take your boyfriend hat off right now. And I want you to tell me, what is your ideal relationship? And he told me, you know, what the things were that he looked for in a person, the things that he would like to do in a relationship, the things that he thought made a relationship strong and significant. And then I asked him, describe our relationship, still with your boyfriend hat off and not taking my feelings into consideration. Describe our relationship. And it was the complete opposite of what he wanted. And that's where we sat down and we had the conversation. I did the same thing. I told him, this is what I want. And this is what we are. And we spent a lot of time that night just talking about the fact that we really loved each other as a person, but not as a unit. And yes, there were a lot of tears. There were a lot of, no, I'm crying, but don't look at that. Keep talking.
Right.
I need to hear this.
Damn.
And I think what I'm trying to say when I give the advice of how to break up is how to break up is to have a conversation where you are separating reality from idea and giving the person the platform that you've probably never given them to be themselves
and to
be honest, completely honest, regardless of how you feel, and being strong enough to sit there in that honesty.
Oh Lord.
And let it be. And when you walk away from it, don't try to bring the ideas back. Just let that honesty be and be real with yourself, because it's easy to say, oh, I was just hurt, or we were just having that conversation. That's not what I really meant. That's what you meant. And accept it as truth and move on and love hard enough to let go.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, okay. I think the one time that I broke up with somebody, I did it in a very cowardly way. Like, I text him and I was like, we should take a break, because I knew that a break was gonna actually be a breakup, but I didn't know how to be like, oh, I want to break up. So it was just like, I think that we should take a break. And that break never, technically we still on a break. That was in 2013 and it's now 2019.
Which leads me.
That's how I broke up with somebody. I can't do it. I can't do it. You know why breakups are so hard for me though? I can't stand stand to be the bad guy. It aches my soul to be considered the bad guy, for that picture to be painted of like where you messed up, or even for me, like I'm very good with walking away from certain situations, but it pains me to like wonder, like, damn, like, could I have fought harder? Because I think that's what I associate like a breakup with. I think it's a cowardly way to avoid battle scars. And not that everybody that you're going to be with is worth that war, is worth those battles, but I've never not known somebody to be worth it. And so as I get older, I guess that's why I'm a little more apprehensive about the relationships and the people that I involve myself with, because I don't want to break up. And I'm definitely more evolved and I'm more secure in the woman that I am and the woman that I hope to be and the woman that I'm actively working towards. So relationships, including friendships, including like relationships with my family, but like romantic relationships, especially considering the family I hope to have one day, are very important to me. So I think that like the same way that we're talking about how to break up and why we avoid breakups, I'm avoiding getting into the wrong relationships to begin with. Yeah.
And that makes the difference. I can say for the first time in my life, I understand a bit why people don't want to break up. Just from doing these shows and talking to different women and having my own experiences, I get that that is really the underlining, that's really just the point of it all, is that when you start to get with the right people, breaking up is not something that's exciting anymore. It's not something that you want to do or you look forward to get to the next step, because it's kind of like, this is what I want, this is it.
This is a part of the next step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like when the issues arise, it's not a reason for pause, it's a reason for growth. It's a reason for challenge. So yeah, I want to ask you though, Saika, especially for our viewers, like, what do you think makes it difficult for other women other than being the bad guy? Like, do you think that there are other things that make it hard for us to like break up with people?
To break up.
And I also want to say too, while you think about that, because I will say one thing that is difficult for me to do is when you're not in a relationship with someone, but you're talking to someone and you know they're not right for you, and then they kind of give you that way out where they're like, oh, you don't even care, or you know what, I'm gonna just fall back. And then instead of being like, okay, yeah, you're kind of like, no, it's not that I don't care.
I mean, well, so that kind of answers the question in itself. I think that that fear of breaking up, that disdain towards letting go, is married to the desire to never feel lonely. And so you stay where you don't feel wanted just to say that you have somebody. And obviously the more experiences we have and the older that we get, we understand why that's actually detrimental to our growth spiritually and emotionally as women, especially because we attach, like, and we don't let go. We attach.
Are we squids?
We are. Like, we attach, and I will say that we don't let go, because obviously the letting go process happens. But once you're stuck, no one else is pulling you off until you decide to let go. And so then, like, even if the guy is just like, get off me, get off me, get off me, get off me.
Even if his friends are like, get off him, get off him.
Your mom is like, get off him, get off him.
His baby, get off. Please, get off him, get off him.
Until you make that decision.
Woo, I found that a little too funny.
We attach. So I think that goes with just like, I don't want to be lonely. And this is the thing though, like the psychology, I didn't go to school for this stuff, but I really think that I really know what I'm talking about. The psychology behind that goes
I love
so
that
deep.
you said it that way.
Yeah.
Though. Like, you are so confident, and
Yeah.
I'm confident in you, so let's do it.
It goes so deep that we're not afraid of being lonely right now. We're afraid of being lonely in our future. So
Yeah.
So like, that's what it is, because I'm so comfortable being by myself. That is why we attach to the right now, because I know what this looks like and I can create something of this for my future. And the more relationships that we feel that we fail at, and do not think that a breakup is you failing at a relationship, because I used to think that, but in that present state, like, your mindset is like, damn, like, I can't never get this right. And that's something that I say a lot. I'm just like, wow, like, I'm so successful and I'm so great at all these other things in my life, and this is the one area that I constantly fail at. And so the more you fail, the less you want to try. So instead of accepting a failure, instead of taking that L, you just stay in something that's dead. So I think that's where that fear of breaking up comes from. Like, besides, like, I don't want to be the bad guy, and so I'm not never gonna get this right. All right, maybe I should just settle with this one and just let it be something, because I know ain't nothing else coming my way. If I didn't get all this together back then, then like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Because it's like love insurance.
It's love insurance.
Just in case I end up alone.
That's what some people like to call safety blankets. Your safety nets.
Yeah. And we have to stop using people as safety nets, because if we fall on them, their bones will break too, if that makes sense. So, as breakable as we are, as fragile as we are, so are other people. So, one thing that I say very rarely, because I don't want to speak it into my life as something that I expect, but people will disappoint you without trying. That's something that a very close friend of mine taught me. People will disappoint you because it is human nature to put yourself first. Even for those of us who are very maternal and very giving and very selfless, at the end of the day, it's human instinct to sometimes put yourself first without even trying. So,
thank you guys so much for joining us again this Thursday. We will see you next Thursday on our Instagrams or our lives. Please tune in. Ladies, we need more input on those lives. We are just being taken over by men.
So that being said, some girls wonder,
other girls whine.
It's been red wine girl time.